Hey boys, welcome back to the channel where we are going to be diving in to the round 2 of the NRL 2022 season, and given my sort of rundown on the matches over the weekend, and there were some good ones, there were some poor ones, but overall another solid week of footy. It's great to be back. But first off, the Storm over the Rabbits, 15 to 14. Now there's a couple of games this week that I don't really know how to feel about them, because this game, I mean, the Storm were far better, obviously, in the first half. I mean, you can see from the scoring, bang, 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 3 quick tries, and then that was pretty much it. And then the Rabbits came home with a wet sail to throw the game into a sort of a thrilling finish. But I thought the Rabbitohs played pretty terrible. I just don't know how they got back into the game. And I'm sure Bellamy would be mighty unimpressed with the performance, because I feel like this was a game the Storm could have and probably should have won quite handily. But I mean, I guess credit to the Rabbits to fight their way back. But yeah, I don't know. Like there was so many poor passes, drop balls from the Rabbits. Like, they actually created some chances, but my God, Paulo and Johnston had an absolute shocker. Cody Walker wasn't great. Like, it was a weird game. It was a weird game of footy. Obviously the ending was crazy as well. Like, Mitchell misses bloody all these conversions and then nails a 45-meter drop goal to tie it up, and then Pappy gets the field goal to win the game. So yeah, crazy game, a crazy game. I don't even know what else to say about that one. I don't know. It was a weird one. Then we have the Dragons v Panthers. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this game, but I definitely heard about it, and it sounds like, unfortunately, once again, the Panthers maybe get some the rub of the green, let's say. I did see the highlights, and I saw the Jaden Sewer sin bin, and it was, I mean, it's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Like, it's actually getting beyond a joke with this tackling the playmakers. Like, good God, can you imagine how good Jonathan Thurston would have been, in the NRL now? Like, he was already one of the greatest players of all time, but can you imagine him now? Like, he got belted every time he passed the footy, late, early, it didn't matter. He got belted every single time. My God, they get touched, and the refs are penalising everything against kickers and playmakers. It's disgusting to watch. I cannot stand how the game is going with this. I mean, you always got to say, I get the point of protecting the kickers, protecting the playmakers, whatever. That's all fair enough. If it's a dangerous shot, yes, it should be penalised, but my God, it's getting beyond a joke. So yeah, the Sewer one was just disgusting. It was disgusting. And then, yeah, the Dragons, I mean, the Dragons did very well to only lose by 4 points with 2 players getting sin bin. The Zach Lomax one, I mean, I think that one was probably fair enough. Like, I think that one was for just constant penalties, wasn't it, or held down? I don't know. I don't really remember what that one was for, but I don't think that one was necessarily that bad. But yeah, I mean, the game changed when Sewer got put in the bin. So yeah, disappointing, to say the least. Really, yeah. It's just frustrating because the sin bin is just such a huge momentum shifter. Then we have the Roosters V Seagulls. So, well, I didn't actually say, but obviously I in my tips, I did tip the Storm, I did tip the Panthers, and in this one I did tip the Roosters. And I felt like this one, it was pretty much set in stone. Like the Roosters were very bad against the Knights, although the Knights were very good, and they backed it up again. But the Roosters, you knew they were going to come out and play a lot better. I still think at times they're a little clunky. I think the Walker and Kiri combo is still sort of finding its feet. Obviously, the dummy half, Watson, he's a very good player, but, they're missing Jake Friend and sort of a proper dummy half. I mean, Watson is extremely good and very, he could play a lot of positions very well, but he's not necessarily like a gun dummy half. So, there's a little bit there for the Roosters still to improve upon. The Seagulls, yeah, they're poor. And I said in the preview, there's some really glaring issues with their team, I feel like. The forward pack, I think, is pretty weak. The outside backs are pretty weak. Like I think, I don't know, unless they get another freakish run with Tommy Turbo, which I can't see happening this year. I think the Seagulls are going to struggle this year, in all honesty. But yeah, the Roosters, pretty comfortable winners there. Then we have the Titans v Warriors. So this game was this was a back and forth, bit of an error-a-thon, bit of a try-a-thon at times. Like, it was anyone's game. I mean, the Titans, good God, the first minute of play, AJ Brimson, his first touch back, and my God, what a player he is. What a player Brimson is. Like, a lot of people, I think, were, very iffy on Brimson at 5'8". I think this game just proved that he is going to become a very good 5'8" for the Titans. Like, yeah, he's strong defensively, and just his attacking presence, like, man, oh man, he's very good, and I'm starting to really like the spine for the Titans. And honestly, a bit of an unsung hero. I think Aaron Clark has looked pretty darn good. Like, defensively, he's actually a very good defender. Puts on some good hits, which you love to see from your dummy half. And then on top of that, he's got a little bit of spark at a dummy half. So I'm liking Aaron Clark in the number 9 jersey. I think he's doing a good job. The Sexton, Brimson combo finally came together, like I said, and Campbell out the back. Always, man, he just moves so well. Like, he just glides. He is a bit of a hog at times. I feel like, just pass the footy, and we'll come to the Dave Fafita thing in a second. But I love Campbell. He's a gun as well. I think you could just use a little bit of finesse in his game at times. But yeah, Fafita, I've got to be honest. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, they weren't using him well. And I do agree that they weren't, and I said it in the preview as well, like, or maybe in one of the Supercoach videos, but they just got to give him the ball early. When they're doing a backline shift, don't go to the line and try to get him through the hole. Just give him the ball with a few meters in front of him to wind up. That's where he's most dangerous. So they could definitely use him better, but I've got to be honest, he is just extraordinarily lazy. Like, I was actually getting pretty annoyed with him, especially in defense. Like, his defensive work, oh man, like, it's all well and good to be honestly probably the most damaging ball runner in the game nowadays, I would say, but defensively, to be on the money he's got to be way better. Like, I remember a moment where I can't remember who, I think it might have been Tavanga almost scored, and Tino came up with an absolute try saver, but Dave Fafita was the other marker, and just stands around. Like, he just stands around and doesn't have any urgency to get back. Now, I don't know, maybe fatigue, maybe he's not fit, I don't know, but his defensive efforts are very, very poor. So, yeah, I think the Titans could use him better, but man, some of his defense is shocking. It it's very lazy. So I'd like to see a lot more from Fafita. On the flip side, the Warriors, Reece Walsh, he looked very good. Man, there's such a better team with him in the side. It's a shame that Johnson is obviously out injured. I would have loved to see Reece Walsh, Johnson combine. I think they could have been very, very dangerous combo. But hopefully later in the year they come back. But yeah, other than that, this game could have gone either way. Like, both teams, you know, they were causing each other a lot of grief. Phillip Sami, Marju were just outstanding for the Titans. The wingers were just dynamite. Marju is probably the best player that probably won't get a start when Corey Thompson comes back. My God, he's too good. Honestly, I'm going on this game way too long, but if I was picking the Titans side, you can't drop Semi and you can't drop Marju. Corey Thompson, when he's fit, has to come back in because he's very good as well. Out of all of them, I gotta be honest, I think it's probably out of Kelly or Herbert that gets dropped, and I'd probably say Kelly at the moment. I would probably shift Phillip Sami or maybe even Marju to center potentially if he could play there, but maybe Semi could go there and have Marju and Thompson on the wings, because man, oh man, how can you drop Marju when Corey Thompson comes back? He's honestly better than Toto with his runs. He's so big, and I just can't believe it's taken so long for him to get in the NRL. I remember years and years ago where he was at the Eels and he just couldn't get a crack, even though he was killing it in the lower grades every single week. But that's enough about the Marju man crush right there. The Sharks v Eels. Sharks getting up in this one. I did tip the Eels. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't particularly like the Sharks, but to see the Eels lose in the final minute, it was pretty nice. I enjoyed it quite a bit because I don't like the Eels whatsoever. So it was nice to see. I mean, they did score. The Sharkies did score 4 tries to 2. So I mean, at the end of the day, they probably deserved to get the win. And yeah, again, a weird game. So Nico Hines, I know. I don't know how to feel about Hines. I mean, I know he sort of came up with the clutch plays at the end, and I did think he got a lot better, but to start the game, I don't know. He can't. Some of his kicking game, I think needs a lot of work. There's elements of his game that's, I don't know if necessarily should be a halfback. I think he would be a much better 5'8", just like that Cameron Munster type role, because his most dangerous, when he sort of crabs across field and when he does, it's so crazy. Every time you watch him, he sort of just mopes around, he's not really going quickly, but he just sort of, I don't know. I don't. You watch him and you're like, why aren't they tackling him? And then he just sort of slips through. So he's just, I don't know. He's got a lot of strength and just footwork that they don't see coming off sort of no pace. But yeah, personally, I don't necessarily think he should be steering the ship for the Sharks. I would prefer to see him at 5'8", because just the way he plays, I don't think is really suited to sort of steering them around, and I'd rather him just be off the cuff. But yeah, he came home strong, but there's a couple of things in his game I think he could work on for sure. And then on the flip side, I thought, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Moses again sort of, did he go missing? I mean, Moses' kicking game is I'd probably argue that Moses probably has the best kicking game in the comp. Long kicking game. He gives it a belt. And he always, he's very accurate as well. But I don't know, when the pressure's on in these big games, the Eels just don't seem to be able to get the job done. And not that it's necessarily a big game, but when the pressure is turned up, they just sort of go a bit missing. So the Sharks get the win there. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the Sharks to win, but they did. Oh, then the next one, the Cowboys v Raiders. So I obviously picked the Raiders, and they got absolutely belted, 26-6, where the Cowboys lost to the goddamn Bulldogs, 4 points to 6 last week. What is happening? The Raiders beat the Sharks last week, who then beat the Eels. Oh man, yeah, the first couple of weeks of the footy is always an absolute cluster. You just never know what's gonna happen. But the Cowboys look damn good. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed. I've got to be honest, I thought Townsend was still really bad. I know he made like one line break at the end of the game, but he just... I feel like he offers like nothing. He doesn't have a great kicking game. Like, I mean, I know it's harsh because they did win 26-6, but I feel like it was more on the back of Dearden. Fido was really good. I mean, a lot of their play, like their forward pack was strong. I mean, Tamalolo, what a surprise. What a surprise. Tamalolo plays lock, his position. He plays, well, he was going to play big minutes. He played like did he play 56 or 55 minutes straight? He might have had a brief break before halftime, but he played pretty much, you know, the full 50 odd minutes. And then because they were up by so much, that's why he didn't put him back on, which I mean makes sense. There wasn't really much need to put him back on, but what a surprise. Tamalolo is out there and they look so much better. Wow, Todd Payton finally pulls his head in and plays him where he should be and plays him for some decent minutes. So yeah, the Cowboys just look good. Their attack just sort of, yeah, it just clicked a lot better than last week. I don't know. I did not see this coming. Like I said, like they didn't look like they were going to score a try last week. I mean, maybe that just goes to show that the Dogs' defense is better than what we think, but I don't think so. Like, watching that game, I didn't think the Dogs' defense was necessarily that amazing. I don't know. The Cowboys just... A week goes by and things change. The Raiders, I mean, yeah, without, honestly, a big loss of Schneider. Who would have thought that the rookie coming in, without Schneider there, they looked really bad. Like, Wyden didn't really get into the game. Their outside backs just didn't really have too much of an impact. Forward pack, I thought Papali'i was actually pretty strong, and a couple other guys, Corey Harrow and Naira was pretty good, but yeah, the Raiders were they were poor. They were very poor. Then we move on to the Knights Tigers. So man, oh man. So obviously I tipped the Knights in this one. That was before the big injury to Ponga. And with Ponga being ruled out, I genuinely thought the Tigers had a good crack of winning this game. Wow, I was wrong. The Tigers, oh man, I think it's going to be a long season for the Tigers because, I mean, again, the Knights were really good. And I mean, again, Jay Clifford, I mean, Adam Clune also was good, but Jay Clifford is looking just really, really good. I mean, honestly, the last while at the Cowboys, I thought he was one of their best players, but for whatever reason, they let him go to the Knights, and, you know, he struggled a little bit early on, but, you know, after a little bit of time, Clifford he's looked the part. He's looked extremely good. Dane Gagai, sensational. Brad Mabest, good. Tyson Frizzell, I mean, he just seems to be getting better and better. I felt like at the Dragons, he was just, I don't know. I didn't really like Frizzell at the Dragons the last couple of years. He just wasn't really doing much. He goes to the Knights, and now he's making like 20 runs a game, bunch of tackles. Like, he's just getting involved, and it's good to see. But, yeah, the Knights, really good all across the paddock. The Tigers, just terrible. Just terrible. I mean, my God, they brought up the meters gained, and holy shit. Like, Jackson Hastings obviously ran over 100 meters, and he was the only Tiger in Cooey of making 100 meters, and that was on the back of a line break. But none of their like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, how are none of their forwards up? Like, I think they said like the highest was like 60 or something like that. Like, how is that possible? How on earth is that possible? I couldn't believe it. But I mean, honestly, watching the game, like their forwards were embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know. The Tigers, I mean, everyone keeps saying it, but Maguire, he's gone. Like, there is no chance. There is no chance Maguire lasts the year. And is it his fault? I don't know. Maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, the Tigers have been so bad for so long that you can't keep blaming coaches, right? I think Luke Brooks has to go. Luke Brooks has to go. And I don't even necessarily think it's because he's like that bad a player, but it's just not working at the Tigers. It's just not working at all. They need a fresh start. He needs a fresh start. So, yeah. Then we move on to the last game of the round, the Broncos v the Bulldogs. Like I said, I was nervous about this game, and oh man, it was, I don't know. Again, it's a weird game to sort of critique because it was a fun game to watch. Not necessarily because the game was, there were some errors, there was some sloppiness, but it was physical. Like they both teams were. I think it was, Pengai was obviously going crazy against his old team. You have Addo Carr just being an absolute menace. And the Broncos retaliated. Like, it was good. It was good to watch. Katoni Staggs is getting up in the face of bloody Addo Carr and Naden. Like, it was a fun game to watch. And this, oh man, I miss seeing these type of games like years and years ago, man. Like the aggression has gone out of football without a doubt. Like, I still love rugby league, and I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, oh man, used to be so much better back in the day, because I mean the footy is great nowadays, but I do miss the more just aggressive and physical matches, and this was a little bit of a throwback. I felt like it was a fun game to watch. The Broncos, I felt like, I did think the Bulldogs are probably the better team in the first half, but the Broncos, honestly, it's the biggest. It's why I'm so impressed with the Broncos, is that their defense, like they're putting in for each other. They at times their defense is a little bit shaky. It's a bit all over the shop, but they're just scrambling. Like at times their reads are not great, but players are just putting in for each other and getting back there to come up with a try saver, and that didn't happen the last few years. So that's the pleasing aspect. And then the big so. I gotta bring it up. Like the penalty to Avarillo against Carrigan, and I mean, it was fair enough they challenged it because it was not a penalty. I know I brought up the Sewer sin binning was the worst decision I've ever seen. This one was up there. Like, how is that a penalty? Adam Reynolds was taken out late every single kick, and even a pretty bad one that obviously Pengai got put on report for later, but it wasn't even penalised. It wasn't even penalised in the moment. So the whole game, Reynolds is getting taken out, and then the last 5 minutes, the team behind by 6 points, just a nothing penalty. It didn't even make any damn sense. But I don't like to accuse the refs of it, but it is always a little bit sus when the team that's trailing just always seems to get this lucky penalty or whatever. It just sort of happens, and I don't necessarily think that the refs deliberately do it, but I think there might be, I don't know, some sort of psychology in the back of the people's heads that, a team that's down, like a 50-50, you just give it to the team that's down. I don't know. But, I mean, it wasn't a penalty. And then the Broncos had to defend, like, the last 5-10 minutes of that game. And they did a great job. Like, I was mighty impressed. They put in, they were out on their feet. The Bulldogs, again, the Bulldogs, is their attack that amazing? Probably not, but the Broncos showed up and they won. So I'm extremely happy. 2 from 2. You got to be happy with that. And yeah, the Dogs, I don't know, maybe the Dogs are better than I thought, because yeah, the Cowboys flogged the Raiders. The Bulldogs beat the Cowboys. And then they almost beat the Bronx, who who beat the Rabbits, although the Rabbits are crap as well. So, yeah, weird couple of rounds of footy, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little recap of round 2. Let me know any surprises, how you think the games went this week. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.